Steven. is going on, Fortnite fam? Welcome to the FNCS Invitational, all happening live from Raleigh, North Carolina. This is day number 2. And in case you missed out on any of the action yesterday, don't you worry about it. We're going to get you up to speed right now. It's game time! This is the FNCS Invitational 2022. The battle bus is ready. Let's go, Jacob. Seti is fighting back. Cammy is fighting back. They're looking to get inside. There goes the Elam they were looking for. Just one player separates them, but Acorn will not survive. And Seti and Cammy take game number 1.
Game number 2.
And this is what we talked about. That wall, there's nothing you can do. It's all or nothing. Down goes Cole. Senses her too, but they have the angle. They're going to wait this one out just for a little bit and allow the zone to do the rest. Cole finds the one and sets it by the other.
Game number 3 starts now.
Now we're moving at my pace. Chapix does so much damage. He loses the wall and no more shield now, and it's all over. Chapix and Taste and fall.
EU versus Asian for Zagu. This man has the world on his shoulder, just a sliver of HP, a little bit of shield, and it's not going to be enough. Joe and Ziani take game number 3.
Ready, everyone? Let's go to game number 4.
5 duos left, and about maybe 3 of them are full duos right now, and Savage loses another one. He's a solo. He's trying to take down the NA West team. He takes down Yumi. Huge siphon coming through. Mr. Savage does it again.
Commandment and Avery have everything working for them. He needs to pick and choose this wisely. Do you go for 2 Elans on the low ground or a chance at first? And down goes Savage. Seti knows better, and it's a great game for Commandment and Avery. And all of a sudden now, it is looking so dicey. Queasy is just waiting.
Waiting for that perfect opportunity. They have the high ground. They drop down low. The game is theirs after they take down Bevy.
It is game 6 of the FNCS Invitational.
What can he do here to take home the big prize and end with back-to-back victory royales to end the day for the team looking to take first place back? Cammy and Seti, and they try to steal it away by getting that VR to end game 6.
And they get the first game, they get the last game of day 1.
EU is on top right now.
My, oh my. What an incredible just day 1 of Fortnite action. We're back here again to do it once more for another 6 games. And at the end of it all, we'll have one FNCS Invitational champion. And it is an honor to be back with you guys for day number 2. Please let me give you a nice little introduction here. It's none other than Tokata and Mini Miner who'll be hanging out with us here on the analyst desk. Boys, it's day 2 of the competition.
It's day 2, and seeing how day 1 went, I cannot wait to see how day 2 unfolds. We've seen representation from all 7 regions throughout this tournament, and currently with 3 EU duos in 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place, the action it's at an all-time high.
Absolutely, but day 1 was a story of twists and turns. We didn't just see things going one way. We saw everything happening, and of course, we saw some crazy plays.
That's right, man. Queasy and Vino, the all-stars, the favorites to win it all, have come in after day number 1, and they are sitting in that first place spot. 184 points, and this is after the interviews yesterday, where they kind of were saying, you know, there's a few things we might have made a couple mistakes on, and they felt that if they buttoned those things up, they could come in today even stronger.
Look, what more is there to say about this powerhouse duo? They've already taken home 2 championships out of the 3 in this current Chapter 3 of the FNCSs. Not only that, taking home both EU and NA East crowns of the most recent Elite Cups. Queasy and Vino, they're a duo. I mean, I wouldn't want to mess with them, Mini. I don't think anybody in this lobby wants to either.
No, and they're not at the moment. They are really popping off. I mean, let me throw you some stats your way. 2nd most eliminations yesterday, Vino. 2nd most damage dealt yesterday, Vino. This man is on fire, and oh boy, are they showing it. We've seen them popping off in previous seasons. Last season, for example, day 2, they actually got 13% more points. So although we've seen a crazy performance from them today, expect no less on day 2.
Yeah, we kind of touched on them and their performance yesterday. I talked about Vino being a player that's currently evolving, right? He kind of hit the scene and was just this player who just wanted to constantly find in boxes, but now, with a little bit of that control, him paired up with Queasy, absolutely insane. I'm very excited to get into today's games, but is there kind of anything you guys are excited about?
I'm curious to see how this duo changes up today, though. So yesterday, we did have 5 north zones. Queasy and Vino dropping on the northern side of the map as well in Shiny Sound. I want to see, you know, if we have a little bit more south zones today, how that changes up their placements.
I am getting word. Adam, are you standing by with none other than Queasy and Vino?
I certainly am, Zeke, right now. Riley, could you please get a huge round of applause for Queasy and Vino? You hear that? They're all here for you guys. Right, we have so much to talk about. Obviously, yesterday finishing top of the leaderboard after 6 games. Vino, how are you feeling last night after a great day 1?
It's been pretty much the same as all nights, but a bit more pressure to close it out. We've got Thomas and Trip and Cammy and Seti right on our tails, and it's we're going to try and finish it out today.
Will you be keeping a close eye as well on their performances as well as your own then?
Yeah, but we can't change how well they're going to do. We can only try and do our best.
I must ask you as well, Queasy. Obviously, we know yesterday a lot of zones pulled north for you guys. Is that a good thing or a bad thing considering Storm Surge?
I mean, for us, I think we prefer some zones to pull like bottom right and top left because of our Surge playstyle. Like you saw, we died game 3 and 4 to Surge, which was not the best. And those are the games that we pulled the most of the zones, so yeah.
Interesting to see. Well, look, guys, best of luck today. 6 more games. Let's see what happens. Let's go back to the desk.
Thank you so much for that interview, Adam. And of course, we'll be checking in with players periodically in between games before the show all begins. So we'll have plenty of time to get their insights through it all. Let's take a moment, though, to talk about that format. How are these players accruing these points in each game? FNCS fans, you're well aware of this, but maybe for those that might be tuning in for the first time, why don't we break it down for them, Takada?
Right, so you start getting placement points all the way at 35th spot, and all the way at the top, you see the Victory Royale is a total of 32 points, which is equivalent to 16 eliminations. So if you want to get a VR and elims, you're going to have to get double-digit elims, which was only done once as a duo yesterday, but also once as a solo where Vico got 10 elims.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, that cascading placement point kicks off at that 25th spot. But of course, what are these players playing for? This is the ultimate moment, the second day. This is where the prizing matters. $200,000 for the first place team. $100,000 each, all the way down to $1,000 for that 50 place team. Everyone walks away with some cash. It's good to see you.
Of course, we also can't forget Mini Miner. They're also walking away with a trophy handed out from Swarovski. Look at this thing shine. Just to have that somewhere in your room. Oh, you start on stream. Oh, yeah, what's going on, guys? Oh, this back here? No big deal. Just happened to win the FNCS Invitational. No big deal. Guys, we have a little moment here. So what we love to do is show you this. We had a moment to catch up with our duos and actually get their insights from the endgame. Check this out.
I think the end game of this Invitational is going to be hectic because obviously you have a lot of good teams. A lot of good teams are going to be looking for refreshes, so a lot of fighting going on. So it's going to be crazy.
Every game's different, so you can't really like preload the end game. But we know how to play end game, so whatever happens, happens.
Adapt. Just need to adapt. That's how we played end game. He's doing everything. I just follow him.
I think the FNCS end game is going to be chaos.
Yeah, the difference between public matches and competitive pro lobbies is like literally night and day.
End games at a professional level are a lot more complicated than end games at a casual level.
Yep. There's so much action as well, like on high ground, low ground, mid ground.
Biggest difference is getting refreshes is way harder because people are way more aware. Coming into the end game, what do you like to have in your loadout?
Oh, I like to have of course, an AR, and then I usually like having pads to just rotate.
Max mats,
mobility,
launch pad, gold prime.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's locked in because he gets the refreshes. I tarp.
انا بالنسبه لي افضل انه يكون معنا يعني فل ماتس لان غالبا الماتس اللي اصلا بتفوزنا الجيم يعني اذا ما معنا ماتس غالبا انه الناس بيناظرونا بيشوفون كذا بدون بيلد فبنموت فاشوف ان الماتس اللي بتفوزنا الجيم صراحه.
Priorities in endgame depends on the situation also, but in the best of situation we like to just stay front and stay together and be able to be ahead of everyone.
First moving zone we usually launch pad and try play second height, and we stick around there, and if we get an opportunity to take high ground we'll take it.
The best thing in the moving zone is like when you're like on the side or on the dead side, so you can't get shot like from people.
The dead side.
Yeah, like if you're like on the left side of moving zone you can't get shot by people on the left.
And I have no idea, you do everything, so I just follow you.
We usually play anywhere, honestly, mid-ground, height, low ground. The one thing that's important is like after like second moving or so, you should probably either be on height or low ground, or trying to get one of them.
انا اشوف افضل لاير ناخذ ببطوله الميد لاير لان ما راح نتقروش من اي احد سكافت ينزل له ونفس الشيء.
صح صادق لان المشكله الهاي جراوند يعني كثيرين راح يفكرون يمسكون الهاي لان الهاي غالبا هو اللي بيفوز كل جيم بس المشكله اتيام كثير راح يفكرون انه خلاص خلينا نحاول نمسك هاي عشان نفوز الجيم.
Prefiro low também porque é muito mais divertido, o high é muito chato, mas se for pra ganhar o campeonato também pelo high, mas eu prefiro muito mais pelo low, muito mais divertido e eu gosto mais.
Me and Dukes like to be low ground. You know, we're a low ground team, meaning basically we're the lowest of the lowest.
So when there's a lot of people low ground, it's a lot more fighting based on low ground, and that's what we are really good at.
I think it's going to be chaos because since it's every top team from every region, I think it's going to be way harder. We'll see who's better at the end.
Bamstow and Fatch, obviously the most wholesome duo I believe we have here in the competition. You do love to see it. Why don't we take a moment here to take a look at our lobby list. We touched on that duo in first place, Queasy and Vino. Let's talk about second place, Thomas HD, Triprin. They were showing up in huge yesterday.
This duo has been playing incredibly, right? The Danish duo, I have a crazy stat for this duo. They got at least 20 points every single match in day one. And what's so crazy about it is there wasn't another single duo that even got more than 10 points every match yesterday. Not only that, they placed top 15 in every single game as well.
Yeah, they actually had the highest average placement yesterday by almost 3 places. So these guys are absolutely popping off. And you can see on the screen right now, Thomas HD is absolutely fragging out every single game. I mean, out of the 20 total eliminations they have across the 6 games, Thomas HD has 18 of them. So Trippin is on 2, which is not as much, but Thomas HD is definitely doing great. Trippin plays such an important role in this duo as well. We can't forget, they're definitely a dynamic between themselves. It's not just a case of 2 solos combining together. They have that brain that almost synergizes both of them. And we can see Thomas HD absolutely popping off.
Yeah, they are kind of like, we talk about this consistency factor a lot, right, in the FNCS, being able to put up those numbers, make sure you're not falling, having these games, it's like, oh, we were eliminated off spawn. No, they're making sure they can be consistent across the entirety of the game. And that's what's helping them maintain that second place. Now, how are they feeling coming into the competition day 2? Well, guess what? Adam is standing by. He's got the answer.
I certainly am. Thank you very much, Zeke. I'm joined by Trippin and Thomas HD. Do you know what's great? We're actually talking about consistency a second ago, but you heard some of the great stats from yesterday. Second place, what is it specifically, do you think, that's gotten you into this position?
Just get to every end game and we just play from there. And yeah, we have our surge and good position, and that's all we need.
Because prior to this, I mean, I'm getting a sense of confidence, really oozing confidence back here. Thomas, going into this as well, obviously, Rave Cave, other teams dropping in the same POI, maybe even a 4th team today as well. How do you manage that?
I don't know if we're getting conned, but if we are, they can just come. We're confident, so yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to win.
Obviously, you've got teams around you. We talked to Queasy and Vina earlier on. Are you keeping tabs on who else is doing well in the competition, or are you focused on your game specifically as well?
We're mostly focused on our game, but I don't know, we look like if we see in the kill feed someone is like doing good to shoot at them or whatever. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's looking very good right now. Trippin and Thomas HD feeling confident. It's back to you, Zeke.
Thank you so much, Adam. And what I love to hear from that is they're considering other factors, right? Watching an elimination feed, saying, okay, we know a duo is doing well. How can we slow them down? What can we do to ensure they're not just walking away winners or getting themselves in a position where they can win, get victory royales, refreshes, whatever? They're trying to say, no, we want to affect the game. We want to make sure we can stop whatever they're trying to accomplish.
I mean, that's what you have to do when you're at this level of Fortnite competitive, right? They drop in the south side of Rave Cave, and there's so many duos around them that they have to pay attention to the feed. They have to pay attention to what's happening around them so they can adapt and act quickly on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You love to see it. Adapting is the key to it all. Let's talk about our duo in 3rd place. It's Seti and it's Cammy. Long time competitive veterans coming out of the EU region. Recently, they took home the DreamHack, right? It was a solos competition. They came in 1st and 2nd. The 2 best players now back at it again. They win game 1. They start the competition strong. They win game 6. They end day 1 strong. What can we expect from them coming into today?
Look, we talked about Thomas and Trippering being consistent, but when you ask me about consistency, I think of this Polish duo, Seti and Cami. It's the 7th time they've competed together, so they have the synergy. And not only that, they've placed top 10 in every finals they've competed together in. This is a consistent duo, but what I find most interesting is that 5% of their eliminations come from the 1st to the 3rd zone. Only 5%, meaning a majority of their elims is all in that late game. They play safe and they play for the long run.
Yeah, they definitely do. And what's interesting about the way they played yesterday, it was completely different to what they've been doing for the whole season. We were looking at some of their Elite Cup plays and some of their Elite Cup sort of finals performances. And what we were noticing was, or what I was noticing was that they were going down a lot in that first moving zone. They haven't actually done that today. They've actually solved that problem by staying back in the storm a little bit, fighting it out. And of course, that does come with some risks. What I've noticed about yesterday's games is they either had a really, really solid end game, or they went down in about 32nd, 34th, one of those places. So when you are fighting in the backside of that zone and you're latest rotating in, all of the other players that are in the zone are going to be looking at you, and that's where their problems are at the moment. So although they're solving the problem of going down early, they're kind of solving it with some of the such.
That's right. Well, hey, we got Adam standing by. Let's check in with Cami and Seti right now.
Thanks very much, Zeke. Yes, indeed, I have Cami and Seti here, everyone. It was a great end to the day yesterday with that Game 6 Victory Royale. Talked about last night and preparation. What did you guys do yesterday when you got back amongst yourselves? Did you kind of prepare for today by VOD reviewing? What did you do?
Like, I watched some games, how we rotated and everything, and then I'm just focusing on today.
We saw some great rotates yesterday, the shield bubble on the boats being one of them. Seti, last night, rumor has it, a lot of the players were watching VODs of you guys and how you do rotate. How do you feel knowing that other players are watching you guys for tips on how they're going to progress in this competition?
For me, it doesn't matter because they are not going to be able to do what we do because of the position on the map that we are in.
Excellent stuff. Well, listen, Cami and Seti could be FNCS Invitational champions later. 6 games will determine that. Let's go back to you, Zeke.
You gotta love that focus, that resolve, right? Coming in saying, we know what we gotta do. Let's just run it one more time. Let's see if they can respect the rest of the competition and how the rest of the competition will respect each other.
At the Invitational, I think everyone has a chance to win, you know? Anyone can take the sun.
There's so many pros and FNCS winners, World Cup winners as well. There's all the best players in the world.
It's just exciting that we're playing and all the players will be near us.
And being able to walk around the lobby of our hotel room and just see so many people I used to look up to.
Yeah.
And now they're my competition. It's such a sick experience.
I think the player I respect the most coming into Invitational would be Alice. Pretty impressive that he's going to be competing all the way from Asia, and I think he does have a shot of doing really good.
Acorn at the moment is a really, really good player, probably the best in NA.
Para mí el jugador que más difícil la vamos a tener en esta competición va a ser Badeal, ya que bueno, es un jugador excelente, viene ganando la última FNCS de Europa.
Player that I respect the most, I think it's Queasy because of his experience, the way that he's playing the game.
Ray inspired me. I was about to quit one season and he convinced me not to, so I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him.
The player I respect the most is probably Buba.
When he won World Cup, I saw that anyone can win any tournament if you just work on it.
I'm excited to play against all the EU players just because of how good they are.
For me, it's got to be like the Brazil, OCE, Middle East, people like we never ever face off against.
I'm really excited to get up against Mera and Buga. I think this is the best duo in the world. We'll definitely see how they play, and I'm excited to see them on the leaderboard as well.
そのスキルが欲しいし、ベノは編集スピード速いからベノが欲しいの。
I'd like fighting Kanada again on the same thing, even though we 4-0'd him on the 120 thing. I think that's
good.
going to be
That's
fun.
going to be up there.
If I was to do it with someone outside the region, I'd probably choose Epic Will because he's the most complete player, I think.
The only other player from another region I'd want to do it with is probably Tayson. I like his gameplay. I think we have similar styles.
If I was going to do it with anyone from any region, I think it would definitely be Veno.
Agreed, yeah. He's got really good IGLing skills and he's a great fighter.
I think if I had to pick someone from a smaller region to do it with, I think I'd pick Zin. He's dominating Brazil right now, and I think he's a good person to look forward to playing in Invitational.
Robin, Rox, Chapix, they are underrated, but they're all good. Good mechanics, good brain.
Yeah.
I think they will do good.
The Brazilian duos are really underrated and they could surprise people.
Eu acho que jogador da Oceania que pode ganhar, que agora está jogando na Nhaish, é o Muzz.
People tend to sleep on him, but his skills in Fortnite are still just as sharp as they used to be.
Thank you, my bro.
I got you, my bro.
Appreciate it, my bro.
My bro.
Dude, That's what I love to see coming to this competition, right? Of course, everyone's laser focused. They want to win. There might even be a little bit of trash talk here and there, but everyone respects everyone. And that's what I love about the competitive community. Why don't we take a moment, though? Let's talk about some off-spawn fights, boys. Oof. We got 2 here to break down. So, Takada, where do you want to start?
Let's start at Fort Jonesy. This is where it gets interesting, right? We have Clix and Dukes going head-to-head against Pink and Anas. Now, I don't know if I'd call this an off-spawn fight or an off-spawn disengagement because this duo did not fight each other once yesterday. 6 matches, and neither of them ended up getting eliminated off the start. But what did end up happening is that Pink and Anas were the duo that had the most time inside of the storm at 14 minutes in day 1.
Yeah, they did, and I think the big reason for that is Clix and Duke, they're not interested in fighting. They're not interested at all. They are just getting straight out of there. They're getting the loot. Even if it's not that great loot, they're just hopping right on out of there. They don't want anything to do with that fight. And what's interesting about these 2 duos and the way that they've performed is that Clix and Dukes, they've kind of had a bit more of an erratic performance all day. They've had 3 really, really solid games, and then the other 3 games weren't so great. Whereas you look at Pink and Anas, those guys have been really, really consistent. Not necessarily popping off in any of the games. We've seen, I think, a 9th potentially from one of those games as well. But they've had sort of between 10 to 20 places. So it's not too bad from this team. They're being consistent, and that's why Pink and Anas are above them.
That's right. Well, Kelly, you're standing by. Let's talk about this head-to-head matchup.
That is right, Zeke. Joining me right here, I have Clix and Pink fighting at Fort Jonesy. And Clix, obviously these zones have not necessarily been polling in your favor. What's been your strategy to deal with it?
You know, we need to find some eliminations on the way and hopefully get a refresh because our loot is getting out of Jonesis, especially this bad side that we're on is terrible, but we got it today.
And Pink, for you, you had a great performance. Your best game yesterday was 11th place with 7 eliminations, and that was all solo. But what changes are you making to break into that top 10?
As Click said, hopefully we get a few zones, because like we had to use all our mats and all our loot to like get to the zone. So if we pull a few zones, we'll be able to save our mats and get deeper into the game.
And obviously, you two are facing off against each other. Is there anything that you want to say to him before you go into the game? Man, a few words, everyone. I love to see it. Can't wait to see you face off in the final 6 games today. Let's head on back to the desk.
Hey.
Oh, sorry.
Ah, man, you guys are absolutely amazing. What a great time. You can tell everyone's in high spirit. They're still focused. We're all having a good time from here. Let's talk about our next off-spawn fight. We watched it kind of unfold yesterday. Coming into today, we got Baka going up against Mr. Savage over at Chrome Jam Junction. What were expectations going into today, and did they change coming into, or yesterday rather, and then change coming into today?
Look, it was interesting. It was actually a very fair, matchup, right? They ended 3-3, so Mr. Savage, iDrop, ended up winning 3 off-spawn engagements, and Baka on one also ended up winning 3 off-spawn engagements. But if we look at the leaderboard, Mr. Savage and iDrop are a bit higher.
Yeah, 14 places or 14 points ahead of the latter duo. So it's going to be interesting to see whether they can continue that today. Who's going to be winning the off-spawn fight? Mr. Savage and iDrop, when they do make it off-spawn, they do seem to be a little bit more confident on their surge rotations, their surge paths. Of course, Mr. Savage clutching up so well yesterday. But I think that when they're 50-50 in that main building, we see Baka and On1 on top in that engagement, because when that bus is moving from the north to the south, it is a lot easier for them to have that drop for the main building that's there. And I think what we're seeing is a little bit less of that 50-50. We only saw it happen in one of the games. Maybe today, as things get a little bit more desperate, we'll see that happen more.
That's right. Guess what? We got an interview to throw your way. Kelly, she's standing by. We have both of these players. We get to hear from them about how they're preparing coming into the competition.
Thank you so much, Zeke. Joining me here, I got Mr. Savage and Baka. And Mr. Savage, yesterday you had an incredible solo run. Walk me through what was going on in those moments.
Well, iDrop died, so I was just trying to make the best out of the situation, and I managed to find like 2-3 eliminations, so it worked out pretty well.
Obviously, it did work out for you well. And Baka, there was one game yesterday that was you performed really well in it. The other 5, not so much. What was so different about that game?
We pulled a good zone. We got a lot of tags on people, got a lot of surge, and we went 10 game with good loot, and we played the game out.
I love it. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this interview. Good luck in your 6 games, and we're going to head on back to the desk.
They're ready, man. They are ready to start the competition, and we'll get there in just a moment. What I want to do is take a quick second here to kind of talk about what we're hoping to see coming into today's games. I think for me, I'm really looking forward to Zago and Meram, right, champions out of the Asia region. We saw them just come out swinging yesterday, and then after that kind of halfway point, they kind of fell off. Now, they're not that far away from first place. We could see a huge shakeup coming into the next 6 games today, so I really have high hopes for them. Tokata, who are you maybe looking forward to seeing? Maybe even a storyline? What are you excited about?
I also want to look and, talk a little about Acorn and Edgy. We talked about our top 3 duos, but in the 4th place, NA East duo Acorn and Edgy, they've been playing very well. They landed Tilted Towers on the Blimp, and Acorn actually had the most damage dealt in the first 2 zones out of any player competing in day 1. Almost 3,500 damage, so they have been prepping well.
Yeah, they really have. And so I tell you how they're getting that. You know that Blimp outside of Tilted Towers, just to the west side of it? They're sitting on top of there. They are getting so many surge tags in there. We got to talk to Acorn yesterday, and we were saying, what's it like? He said it's brilliant. Everyone's rotating towards me. The zones are pulling north. I'm getting 1,000 tags on players rotating in. They're loving life at the moment. My only concern for this duo, how will they fare with the south zones if we do get any today, right? We saw a lot of north zones yesterday. So many of the players rotating into that Tilted Towers area. It was a surge farm for them.
That's right. We'll find out as it all unfolds before us. But first, Vivid, I think you're standing by in the crowd.
Thank you, Zeke. Raleigh and the world. How we feeling for day number 2? I am feeling exactly the same. I want to kick it off right here and go ahead and give my prediction. I think Queasy and Vito, they're obviously going to find themselves on the high ground, but I think Acorn and Edgy are going to find a couple more end games today, kick it off strong, and hopefully break into that top number 3. Now, I'm feeling excited, and so is everybody else, which is why I would love to kick it right over to MDF and Jacob.
Wait a second, we're doing early predictions? Hold up. I want to give a blanket statement. NA East absolutely needs to represent here, at least for me. I want to see a top 5 finish from our competitors. I'm feeling Šmejd and Larson right now. Ooh. The young bulls stepping up, and not only that, backing it up on the mic as well, so I'm feeling them.
Yeah, I'm taking that blanket. I'm going to go ahead and wear it as well. NA East is going to rise up, but I got a little bit of a different team. I got Acorn and Edgy. I think Edgy is not going to only win its 2nd FNCS in another region. It's going to be on an international stage.
I'm feeling that, but you know who else wants an opinion? It's Taco. Let's check it out.
Appreciate you guys over on the cast, but more importantly, it's been awesome seeing the energy and how the players are all so amped up, getting ready to set up for day number 2 here at the FNCS Invitational. But have to keep an eye out for Vico and Marine, because Vico, he's actually leading in individual eliminations, 21 on for his team collectively, and I think that it's incredible that 21 out of 24 belong to him. I'm just really excited to see if they can keep it going, keep that aggression up. He's just looking to frag out along with everybody else here, but that's not the only duo that we have to talk about today, so let you guys go back on the desk.
Thank you so much. You got to hear a little bit from everybody. Now, as we get just moments away from kicking off the competition today, day number 2, 6 matches, 1 FNCS Duo Invitational duo. I mean, I'm excited, to say the least. What are you guys hoping to see today that may be a little different than yesterday?
Look, so we talked about the north zones, right? A duo that was landing all the way south in Synapse Station, Joe and Ziandi. They had to travel over 8,000 meters every single match just to get the 3rd zone. Look, they did have rifts. It might have helped out a little bit, but I'm curious to see how all these duos adapt with a whole new day of zones.
They won a game, though. They won a game. Of course, you can't complain about North Zones if you're winning games from them. Of course, Joe and Ziandi not quite faring that well in the rest of the games, but they're still up there on the leaderboard. Miro and Buga, one of our favorite teams going into this, they're not quite faring as well. They're not quite enjoying the North Zone, so hopefully for them, at least, we'll see some South Zones today.
We have all things to break down for you across these 6 matches of the FNCS Invitational, but to kick things off, let's go on over to Adam and Kelly.
Thank you very much. Raleigh, how we doing? All right. We are moments away, Kelly. We've set the scene. We are almost there with our last 6 games of this competition.
That is right, everyone. I hope you are ready for the games to begin and our players to come out, everyone. So let's join together. 9, 8, 7, 6,
2022! Live from Raleigh, North Carolina. How are we doing, world? Excellent stuff.
It has been absolutely amazing. I'm Kelly Ling. This is Adam Savage. And guys, this is the final day of the FNCS Invitational. 50 of the best duos from around the world representing 7 regions, duking it out for the lion's share of $1 million. First place, walking away with $200,000. But not just that, they're fighting for the pride and the bragging rights. And of course, that trophy right there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Now, of course, Kelly, we have set the scene here. Obviously, we have the amazing audience. We've got you guys watching at home. Everyone is ready to rock. We're missing one key element. Of course, the players, the stars of this show. We thought we'd try something before bringing them out here. So if you'd like to, by all means, you don't have to. If you want to, though, do stand up, guys, okay? You can stand if you like to. We're going to ask all of you guys to follow me in a clap. All right, we're going to start slow. I'm going to get faster and faster and faster, and then we're going to go absolutely bonkers. Okay, here we go. With me. You ready? Here we go.
It's time.
It's time to meet the players.
Epic whale and read, everyone. It's time for a comeback. If he wants that 7X next to his name. Currently in 22nd place with 80 points, they have a big day ahead.
Give it up for Fabs and Snacky with a contested off-spawn situation in day 1. This team is looking for a more consistent day 2 and a huge comeback.
Welcome to PH Zin and Kitos. Third place was their best finish after day 1. And with all the eyes on the prize, are they ready for day number 2?
Put your hands together for Janice and Fadil. Zones were not in the Greasy Groves team's favor on day 1. Today, they'll need a comeback for the ages.
Queasy and Vino, folks. A phenomenal start to the tournament yesterday, leading the teams going into day number 2. These guys need to stay focused in order to secure the prize.
This is Rapid and Andalex with a popping performance in Game 3 yesterday. This recipe for success is there. They just got to repeat it today to take it all.
Put your hands together for Basil and Jace. Improvement is the key for these guys. They have to show up today if they want to take that trophy home here in the FNCS stage.
Stand up and get loud for Pink and Anas with an average elimination rate of 3.5 per game on day 1. They're all set for keeping the points coming in hot today.
If you say Poland, I'd say Cammy and Seti. These two legends had 2 victory royales yesterday and are the front runners for the trophy. Can they make it happen?
Let's hear it for Aqua and Reason with challenges right off the drop. This team might take a different approach today to get to the top of the leaderboard.
Absolutely incredible. Once again, just our first 10 duos coming back onto the stage after 6 games yesterday. I feel like we can't not talk about them, right, Brazil? PH Zin, Kitos. That back corner over there was going absolutely ham for them, and I want to know how you guys expect them to do.
They're still there. They haven't lost their voice yet. I don't know how. I don't know how.
It's been amazing, right? PH Zin, Kitos, 25 FNCS finals appearances. PH Zin, 4 championships alone, 1 for Kitos, total of 5 FNCS championship titles for the duo. I mean, they're incredible.
Yeah, they really are. They're playing so good. They're getting to the front side of zone. I'm excited to see them today.
That's right. Let's go ahead and meet the next 10 players. Let's run it.
coaches on day one. These guys are looking to climb to the ranks in day two and take home the crown.
Let's put our hands together for Noah Riley and Bad Sniper with an 8 elimination game yesterday and an average of an elimination rounds of 2.7 per game. They're hot.
Give it up for Threats and Alice. This Asia and NA East combo needs to focus on the end game today to boost their leaderboard placement to take the first place spot.
The W Keyers have arrived. Malabuka and Mustache with a total of 13 eliminations. This duo, it might be looking to change things up today and go for the comeback.
Put your hands together for Trulex and Chicho with some great performances on day one. These guys have already proven that they belong in this lobby and they belong at the top.
Welcome to Bailey and Alex battling it out at the Coney Crossroads off spawn. These guys can still make it today, but it will take a hero's effort.
Pablo, Wingu, and Swag with a bumpy start to day one. These guys are in full focus mode for the comeback. Watch out, because it might get dangerous.
Welcome, everyone. I am joined here by Scented and Cold, your 8th place team out of day number 1. And Scented, we got to talk about that Victory Royale run that you had yesterday. What was the recipe for success?
You know, we just played our game. We got some good loot. We're getting half of our loot taken, so we were able to find some refreshes and put ourselves in a good spot throughout the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, you know, you guys are in a good spot right now. 8th place is a great place to be in. But what's the strategy for today? You're changing things up or still sticking with what you did?
Just sticking to the same thing, just playing our game out, hopefully just hoping for the best.
I love it. Thank you guys so much. And one last thing, is there anything that you want to say to the audience right now?
Enjoy, I guess. Like, I don't know.
Guys, make some noise for Scented and Cold right now. Let's head on over to the next part.
Please welcome Clown and Refscard with a total of 78 points and currently 25th on the leaderboard. These guys will need to climb the ranks today and pop off.
Let me give you Mixin and Arthur coming out hot yesterday. These guys are looking to keep it going for the best possible placement today on the day.
A big welcome to Pars and Rays representing the NA West region. They will need to focus up if they want to climb that leaderboard. Yesterday was, of course, a battle at the drop.
Put a warm welcome together from Malusi and Hijo with a central drop on the map. These guys should have a smooth time reaching all the zones and at first place.
Vico and Marine, everyone, with the highest single-player elimination count in game number 6. This team has to be ready to keep the ball rolling and try to grab that first place spot.
On1 and Baka, everyone, with an off-spawn contest from the very first second of each game. They're looking to take over day 2 and take over the top spot.
Let's hear it for Wox and Robob. They had a strong showing to close out day number 1 here at the FNCS Invitational. Let's see what they can do today.
This is Groles and Rifty. These guys got fired up on day 1 and will look to continue that streak today and take home the prize for EU.
Let's get a big welcome for Larson and Smite, battling it out at the top of the leaderboard amongst the best of the best. This duo had a lot to say before closing out the evening.
Put your hands together for Falconer and Hellfire. This NA West and EU combo cracked the code towards the end of day 1, and let's hope they can keep it going today.
20 duos left to introduce, but we have a little moment here. Let's talk about Šmejd and Larson. Sitting in 7th place, we got to see them just 2 back. How are you feeling about this duo coming into the competition today? Because I have really high hopes.
Look, I'm on your boat, Zeke. They're looking strong. They're looking powerful. Winning 4-2 off spawn against Muzz and Looter. Currently in the 7th place spot. I mean, they're doing great.
Yeah, they're doing great. Another duo that's doing great as well is, of course, Vico and Marine. We thought they were going to land Tilted Towers yesterday, but they switched it up. They went to the reality tree, and it's working out for them. Of course, Vico with the highest solo eliminations of the day. A 10 elimination game in the final game, so they close things off strongly. Can they pick it up?
We'll find out, but first, let's meet the next 10 duos from the FNCS Invitational.
Put your hands together for Peter Bot and Jumper. These guys are looking to make that great comeback today. We all know they have the potential to do it, but they will have to step it up.
Make some noise for Pam, Stu, and Fatch. Currently finding themselves in the top 10. These guys are running for the trophy. Now is the time for them to shine.
KBR in seat, folks, giving it their all yesterday. They find themselves as the 6th best team in the tournament so far. They are here to make the Brazilian region proud.
Let's give a warm welcome to Bevy and Vortexers, coming out with an average elimination of 2.6. These guys are amongst the top fraggers in this lobby. Let's see more of this today.
And a big welcome for Retake and Novice, finding themselves at the bottom half of the leaderboard here. They have to now make this day the comeback. A single game can change it all.
Give it up for Scram and Chimp, showing they belong in this lobby with a top 3 finish in day 1. Will they keep that momentum going?
Put your hands together for Zaku and Marine with a great day 1 and several fantastic late games. Will they, can they repeat their opening success from day 1?
A fantastic welcome to Ju and U3. Today is the chance for a comeback for this team, and they are looking for that opportunity now more than ever.
This is Z Andy and Joe FN, everybody. All eyes are on the prize for this team here as they are currently coming into the competition at 5th. What a showing it was for day 1.
Give it up for Cruel and Yumi, finding themselves close to the top 10. Everything is possible for this team. Today is their final chance to make it happen.
I am joined right now here in North Carolina by FaZe Replays! Replays, my guy, what an amazing experience this is. You were at World Cup, here we are at FNCS Invitational. How has the vibe been for you?
Oh man, it feels great to finally be back at an in-person event. The vibes, the atmosphere is feeling absolutely amazing. So, shout out to all of you guys coming. Honestly, let's make today a great day.
Yes, I mean, speaking of the community as well, what does an event like do this to the community? You're a huge ambassador of the game here.
Yeah.
How great is it for these guys?
Honestly, this is like I said, it's being back again after like 4 years. Like I think this is great for everyone to experience. Like just seeing all the players here from around the world. One of the best, some of the best players around the world, being able to watch in person is such a great experience. So let's have fun. Let's see how these players do today, and let's see who takes it all.
Let's do it. Enjoy the show. Yeah. Replays, everyone. Let's meet the next 10 duos.
This is King and Ed Lagana with a strong ending on day number 1. The Brazilian duo has to show up and perform even better here on day 2. Can they do it?
Please welcome Focus and Spy. The amazing Middle Eastern duo is looking to make strides up through the leaderboard today. Are they ready to do it?
It's Thomas HD and Trippern, folks, with the best average placement of day one and a second place finish here, they are locked in and ready to grab that first place today.
A huge welcome to Macwood and Kanata with an average of over 13 points per game on day one. They showed they are consistent, but now it's time to pop off.
And let's hear it for Acorn and Edgy. Consistency is the key word here. With 3 top 6 performances yesterday, they secured themselves a solid 4th place coming into day 2.
Make sure to get loud for Hand and Vortex. This incredible duo showed they belong in this lobby with an amazing 2nd place finish with 7 eliminations yesterday.
And a big welcome to Commandment and Avery with an amazing Victor Royale on day 1. Commandment and Avery are focused and ready to get even more here for day 2.
A duo that needs absolutely no introduction with the clash of the European Titans in Cloudy Condo. Tayson and Chapix are looking to take over.
Let's give it up for Maz and Looter with the contested drop spot at the Grim Gables. I am sure we are in for a treat today. It's going to be a hero's effort to take it off.
And finally, let's hear it for Buba and Miro. The fan favorites are ready and looking to make a comeback of a lifetime.
My goodness, it'll never get old. I'm telling you. Watching these duos make an entrance like that is always going to be incredible. We want to highlight a duo for you here, and it's a lot of, probably a duo that we're all hoping, and we kind of touched on, hope does well, Acorn and Edgy. Edgy having a series of 2nd place finishes in the FNCS, still hasn't seen that first place. And man, he wants it, and he wants it here.
Look, he wants it. He's not the only one that wants it. Thomas and Edgy both competing for that trophy, their first trophy. But talking a bit more on Acorn, I couldn't emphasize enough how important their day 1 is and was for them. I mean, Acorn having the most damage dealt in the 1st and 2nd zone out of any player shows that they prepared beforehand for this tournament. But the question is, in day 2, will they be contested? Will the change in zones cause them to not do as much damage? There's so many factors that come into play.
Yeah, absolutely. And their worst game was a 42nd, and it was when Haijo and Belusi rotated in from that west side. It kind of made things a little bit difficult for them because they had so many teams in the area already. Of course, we have no Rayleigh there as well. It's very, very difficult for them to all be there at once, and unfortunately they did fall victim to that. But their other games have been really, really consistent. They've been very, very solid, playing the end game layers really well, and I'm excited to see them perform today.
That's right, Kelly, standing by right now with Acorn and Edgy as they prepare for the competition.
Thank you so much, Zeke. I am joined by Acorn and Edgy, and guys, make some noise for this team right here. You guys are currently in 4th place. What is that like to be in the top 5?
It feels pretty nice, especially one of the only NA teams up here, but it's not over till it's over, and it's just going to come down to the last game.
Well, with how you guys have been playing, 1 2nd place, 1 3rd place, what's standing in your way from grabbing that VR?
Honestly, we just need to keep getting kills and refreshes and stuff, and if we just get mats and play with mats, we'll do good. It's really just we run out of mats, that's why.
I mean, good luck to you guys. You have 6 more games to go, but everyone, it's time to head on back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Kelly. As incredible as always, but it is almost that time to kick off the competition. So why don't we go hang out with Monster, D-Face, and Jacob PR.
Heading into the action. Let's go ahead and start gearing up, of course, for that first game there, Jacob.
Yeah, first game of the day, but it's the 7th game overall in the competition. The FNCS Invitational has not disappointed one bit.
That's right. A 2-day competition leaves a lot of stress, of course, on the shoulders. You get that first day out the way, and then you have to think about everything and how it played out.
Yeah, and luckily for them, this is a 2-day competition. For some of these teams that might be on the low end of the leaderboard, don't count yourselves out yet. It's all about that mindset, but the mindset has to be ready because game number 7 starts right now.
Here it is. The players are on that battle bus, and we get to see it all play out. This is it, folks. It's day 2 of the FNCS Invitational, and we are just moments away from jumping off that bus. Let's get it.
Yeah, this time around, we got a little bit of a different bus pass than the most of them than we saw yesterday. All the way south, moving north. That means Cloudy Condos is going to have action. Greasy Grove is going to have Janice and Vadil, and a lot of time this time around, because that's one of the things that I felt like frustrated them a little bit. 5 north zones on the day yesterday. It left them very little time to get things going.
But hey, that didn't stop Z-Andy and Joe from doing well. That did not stop other teams that land in those southern areas from performing well. It is all a matter of how you strategize.
Yep, and already you see Cammy and Seti, the only team with 2 VRs on the day. They got their own drop spot and they held it for seasons, and already you can see where they're getting a lot of their surge. That early bus path already proven to be successful.
That's right, a great job there, early tags, playing smart, and luckily for us, we get to really pick up where we left off. This fight here for Larson and Šmejd didn't always go their way. Although they did manage to end inside that top 10 window, it was still very much a competition for them. And I mean, this is the most room we've actually seen them have.
Yeah, yesterday you seen like a 4-2 in Šmejd and Larson's favor. Over here towards Vico and Moran. Vico has been going off as a solo all day long yesterday, and you can already tell it looks like they're on the hunt, trying to catch somebody off guard, and that's a lone player that they're surrounding.
The first thing Vico told me was, "Did you see me pop off last night?" I was like,
I think we all did.
You were going crazy. And we get to see how they're feeling, and you can tell the confidence is there. Look at the surging confidence to walk in with no builds and really try to make this a play here. But that build from Grawls is going to go ahead and discover that there's an opponent down here, and up he goes. Yeah. Oh! It finds the player on the other side. What a read. And they just cut him off. That was beautiful.
That was a perfect read. He checked him out of a book of the library. It didn't even return him back. That is huge, and you can see Vico and Moran, the only team currently in the top 10, playing in their first finals together. That is natural chemistry. That goes to show these are 2 fantastic individual players. You combine those powers, you get one dangerous duo, just like Cold and Scented. They had one of the victory royales yesterday, a couple of top placements, and that put themselves in contention to take the title.
And lucky for Cold and Scented, they've managed to go ahead and find themselves a little bit of room to play the drop there, and that's why we're noticing them in the endgame. And just think about the dynamic that's playing out right here for Larson and Šmejd. They have a huge decision to make. Do we go ahead and risk it all and take the fight for Muzz and Looter, or do we allow them to have a piece of this drop spot so that we play smart, play safe, and earn points?
Yeah, I think both of these teams realizing how dangerous it can be, and Šmejd and Larson, they're in the top, and you got to imagine those 2 games that they got taken out off spawn, how much that could have changed things, and 96 players alive. This is the same passive style gameplay that we saw in game number 1. That only leads me to think one thing: Storm Surge is going to get chaotic.
It's going to be a tough one, but hopefully not for Mr. Savage and iDrop as they kick things off very nicely here. It seems like the engagement against On1 and Baka, this is what we've been touching on this entire time, right? The fact that there are different ways to play the Chrome Jam Junction. Usually whoever gets the high ground is the most benefit. Hold up. Savage stepping up to the wall. Let's see how quickly he can turn this around.
Yeah, right now it just seems like the aggressor is off this ball. Oh my God! Mr. Savage just get absolutely done up by On1 and Baka. Continuing that momentum from yesterday, putting iDrop on the back foot. He's just trying to stay alive right now and stabilize the situation.
And if you didn't respect NA West before, you have to now. On1 and Baka have truly shown how their preparation has come into play here, putting down arguably one of the stronger European duos to show up here this weekend.
Yeah, they smell the fear right now, and they're hot on the chase. This is 2 more points. This is a great start. More Storm Surge, everything for On1 and Baka to keep it going and try to get that top spot, because they know with the 2nd place finish in NA West last season, anything is possible. But iDrop, he doesn't want to be a part of it, but they're just not wanting to let him get away.
I like that they're chasing this one down here, though. I think it's very much worth it. Get those points. Make up for the games that you were bested out on. And this time around, Baka with the display. Everyone close your eyes. You saw nothing. We move on.
Oh, but look at that in the feed, though. King gets credit for the knock on the Baka. I don't know where they're at, but you got to know, an aggressive team coming from Brazil, if they see that green light, they're going to go.
They have to weigh their options at that point. Like, what just happened? How did we get that?
Okay.
Luckily for us, we get to jump on over to Janice and Vadil here at the Reality Falls. This has been a very interesting position for them to play out of because Vico and Murat have found so much success, and Vadil and Janice are such a great team. It's unfortunate they're being contested.
Yeah, this is what more we were looking towards seeing today. It may have started off a little slow, but Šmejd and Larssen know how dangerous they can be, especially if they have the high ground against Muzz and Looter. But the longer this one takes, it looks like it was a little bit of a north zone. A lot of teams are going to begin to rotate in, so you know as well as I do, the longer you take, the more chance of a third party, and that's going to be Larssen and Šmejd's job right there to try to disengage. But they don't disengage far. They just continuously hold that high ground.
Smart of them. They're showing us that they actually want to take this fight. Šmejd and Larssen, some of the most confident players we have actually seen.
Yeah, he's not backing down.
Looter's like, what's up? You guys want to do this? I play better. Box to box. Come see me.
That could have been a key. That could have been a huge key for success for Šmejd and Larssen, because winning those off-spawn exchanges gets you the storm, so you don't have to worry about it later in the game. But the duo from OCE wants to challenge the NA East. Muzz taking some layers away. Larssen just trying to stagger himself. Right there, those angles are going to be so important for both of these teams.
And players know better than to go too high as well. You want to make sure you're respecting the distance, but not too much. In fact, you get chopped down, but this is a great angle here. Muzz finds a huge tag. He's going to win the exchange there, and luckily, the shots in the distance, probably from King and Ed, do not connect here.
Yeah, it's like an Eiffel Tower getting built. You even see those shots already now coming in from all different directions. Everybody wants that surge. They want to have as much flexibility through the mid game as possible. And once again, it looks like Larssen and Šmejd are trying to disengage. They don't want to get stuck in this mess. They felt and dealt with this lobby at the top spot, and they know that you cannot fall behind. You cannot put everything you all have in all one moment. So for them, it's about re-matting up, because you look, they barely have anything.
Well, lucky for us, things are going to simmer down, and Taco's going to give us the quick update.
But more importantly, it's going to be about some of these Southside teams that are, again, going to be finding themselves making a huge journey towards those North Pulling zones. Joe and Andy specifically, they're sitting right now in that 4th place position on the leaderboard. So it is absolutely crucial for these guys to gather as much materials, as much loot and resources as possible. And that's exactly what Andy and Joe are making sure to take their time to do, because they know they've got quite the journey ahead of them, and they're going to make the most of it. But let's get back to the action.
Thank you so much for that breakdown there, Taco. It really does give us the full picture about Joe and Andy's journey in the game here, right? They're one of the few teams, like we said, they, against all odds, perform very well with the zone not landing them.
Yeah, and you can kind of see a little bit of how they're getting that job done, but Šmejd in the feed, looking like he's already going to take down Muzz, leaving Looter in a 1v2 situation. I'm getting that feeling of deja vu from yesterday where they 1v2'd inside of the cave, but it got really, really dangerous.
It's a great angle for Šmejd here. He almost catches Looter off guard. He was so ready, but here comes the defensive shots from down low. He's got to be careful. That wall is not his, and now he has to break through. This is how a pro player turns things around. Larssen comes from behind and throws tomatoes on the body just like that.
Showing exactly how he's feeling right now, but there goes that first elimination. This is how Muzz went down. He's building in wood. The lack of resources right now. He got did up like a sit-up, sent back to the lobby. Now it's up to Pars. They were in an exchange. He got the knock on to Bailey. The Siphon finally going to come through, and this is a chance for him to slow it down, stabilize here for a moment while he figures out what is next.
Alex and Bailey have been contested this weekend. Pars and Raze mixing things up. Seems like they haven't caught a break just yet. But way to kick things off. Raze is down, in fact, as well. So this is a one-on-one type situation. The question is, can he find his way to a reboot, Van? The longer this goes on, the tougher it's going to be for him to go ahead and turn this bad situation around.
Yeah, but don't worry. If they're going to go ahead, and right now Alex has the opportunity with the med miss and the flopper, they can try to get a reboot that is in Storm, but you got to do it sooner rather than later. But it doesn't look like Pars wants to let that one come easy. And you can see the zone on the left. That is going to be another northern zone. So the players that we were talking about, Janice and Vadil, Joe and Andy, and a lot of those teams that are on the southern portion of the map have to go ahead and figure out a way to go ahead and travel as fast as possible yet again.
Looks like we're picking up the trend where we left off. This is a full zone pool. But Joe and Andy have already proven to us they know how to play these. One thing we do know for certain is so does Vino and Queasy. When the zone lands on top of them, they have turned all of those games around into excellent end games. We'll see if it ends up happening. Joe and Z Andy moving from outside the zone. They don't necessarily want to take the fastest course of action to the safety. They have to go a little wide here to give themselves some room. In the distance, Cammy and Seti, so they're hot on their trails as well. And then, of course, Macwood and Kanata here to the left. That's the resistance.
Yep, you see Joe and Zandy, 5 games, 5+ eliminations on day 1. Most of any duo. The consistency coming out of some of these teams is absolutely insane, but jumping on board, Queasy and Vino, our first place team. They got the zone that you talked about, and you can look how they're setting up right on top of the blimp. They're not necessarily together. That way they can continue to maximize their opportunity to get Surge.
And they're so far apart. Just look at where Vino is compared to where Queasy was on that mountain. They have that north zone on lock. Here's Edgy and Acorn, one of NA East's only hope inside the top 10 right now. Last game yesterday fell slightly short of their expectations, but one thing I did notice about Acorn and Edgy, they were in the player lounge late last night, VOD reviewing, studying how to adjust their gameplay to never drop another round. If they can put all of those rounds and learnings into play, Game 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
And that VOD review actually paid off, but we've seen this rotate from Cammy and Seti. Everybody's hitting that VOD review after day number 1. They want that free rotation, especially since they are in the storm. But I did see Buga go down. Malibuga getting a knock on to Andalex. But for this team, I love this rotate now. Cammy and Seti were in a different position yesterday. They were down on Surge, but for Trulex and Ticho, they are over 300 above. They have absolutely nothing to worry about other than finding that sweet spot in zone.
Here's Colin Scented, playing very smart, taking their time. And of course, hiding out where they can. Another team that is seemingly interested in playing as individuals here. Scented trusting in his teammate to watch his back while he works on the loot. Tripern and Thomas HD coming in at second place today, finding themselves 19 above the Surge. Big task in front of them, but this is perfect. Talk about a delivery. You find a player, it's Grolls, one that we know was already taken out earlier, so he's gonna have a limited amount of loot to work with. Seems like Tripern takes the passive route. They find a few tags, they get away. I wonder, is that the pressure of a day 2 finals? Is that the pressure of being in second place coming in? Were they too early?
Nah, I feel like this is them right now, feeling that comfortability, the flexibility of being at that top spot. Because you know as well as I do, depending on where you're at in the leaderboard dictates how you have to play coming into day number 2. If you're at the bottom, you got to find a way to mix those eliminations up with some victory royales. But if you're at the top, you can do anything that you want, and that's why that VOD review in the practice is so important.
My problem is going to come down to that Storm Surge, though. We'll see what they can do. Seti and Cammy find themselves very far above the Surge, but also deep inside the zone. That's something you don't see very often. That's like water and oil. They don't quite mix. But let's get on over to Brazil region right here of Zeets and KVR. They have big EU players on site here. Refsguard and Clown are going to get burned.
Yep, just outside of the zone as well. KVR and Zeet, they have plenty of heals to work with. And that's exactly why they're staggering themselves so far back, 290 above for them. That's a feeling of comfortability as Storm Surge begins to activate. And this is the thing, for those players that are comfortable on Storm Surge, this is an opportunity to look around the lobby, figure out who is struggling, because when that Storm Surge takes their shields down, you hear that crack, you hear that audio cue, and for some of these players, that's a green light.
Now we get to tune in. What looks like a little hold up, right? Looking at the loot, weighing the options, nice little pickup there. But hold up, Brazil versus Middle East is going down right now. Spy is on the low ground here with focus there. It's not looking good. PH loses the wall. Quick take there from Spy as he defends off PH, but PH has all the pressure off of his shoulders, and he catches Spy in a fly trap there with a quick finish. And I can hear the Brazilian fans on the other side cheering for PH and Quitos. They jump up to 4 eliminations. What a way to continue to climb their way up that top 10.
I just preface that type of situation. If you're down on Surge, you almost have to beeline it to the first team, and Cool's even going down backside of zone. Struggles for them. Looking like it's going to start early here in game number 7. Merrim's going to go down to Acorn. Yumi is out. The team from NA West that took the Chapter 3 Season 3 championship is out of the lobby in the first game.
And you know, yesterday, Mareem and Zagu had so many people start to fall in love with who they are, but they are going to get taken out in this competition a little early on their first surge. Joe and Zandy also feeling the pressures of a late rotate coming out the zone. Luckily, there is, of course, the edge right in front of them, so this is going to be a slow mover. They're going to have to burn a second launch pad now, which will open up an inventory slot, but look at Joe and Zandy here. They will have to do something big in order to bounce back. Have Colton sent it off to the side here. Great early builds there. That's the safety play. Don't want to risk it. Not worth it.
And you can see right now, since it's pulling so far north, you see Chrome Jam Junction right there. That southern portion of the zone is going to get so stacked, and it's going to get so hard for some of these players to traverse through, as Thomas HD and Tripperin still trying to hold on to as much of the high ground as possible. And you can see him peeking through, gathering all that information, and that's so important because you don't have to get ready if you stay ready.
This is my problem with them disengaging from Grols and Rifty. Little did they know, that would have been an excellent fight for them to take. They were just coming off of a reboot pickup, and now looking back at it, they could have used that damage. This extra pressure here to perform is going to force them into either peeking, which will open up the risk, or jumping onto a player. And they're going to go for high ground here. They're going to go for position. They find a box. No one's inside of it. And a quick check just in case. Tripperin all of a sudden finds himself in a world of trouble here. Just a couple of seconds before this surge turns on.
It's huge right now. You see they're just trying to look everywhere. But that's the thing in these stack lobbies. When you fall behind on surge, it is so tough to find the shots that you need because everybody's just boxed up. Nobody wants to peek. Nobody wants to bite off more than they can chew, because then that is how you go down. 329 above, Acorn by himself. He has very little to worry about in terms of surge. For him, it's just about making it to zone game after game.
He's so lucky. The zone actually pulls south. We saw what Acorn was able to do yesterday as a solo. He picked up so many points. That post-game interview was perfect. We got to hear the credit from Edgy, but Thomas HD, the surge is active. No way they go in through the Chrome build. They are not playing around, but this is some of NA West's best box fighters on the other side of the wall. Thomas HD, Tripper have to take this battle here. They do not have time to sit around. Looking out, anything, for anything. There it is. Baka opens the wall, no tag, that's a miss. That's a problem. Might have found a little bit here. He's now leading. He does have the HP advantage. In he goes. The edit comes from the side. A great job. EU. One goes down. Can they turn it around? Baka needs to clutch up here. No HP. Shot from behind as well. He gets the trade. This is such a tough position.
He has to try to find a stabilize and find a moment to breathe right now, because it was game 5 yesterday. He 1v2'd Mr. Savage and iDrop at the top of Chrome Jam. Now he's trying to do the same thing, but I don't know if he was able to get the opportunity to revive on one. So Baka is now by himself, but luckily for him, they did get some early eliminations. They did get some early damage, so they don't have to worry about Storm Surge. But oh my God, how are Thomas and Tripperin still alive?
This is crazy. The map awareness, understanding the vault was just nearby and fighting their way towards it for the heals. It wasn't just for the battle. It was the positioning to the vault. What a big play here. It all makes sense as to why they wanted to position themselves here. But still, they will need to find tags now better than ever. They have shield bubbles as well to protect themselves for the next box fight.
Yeah, and for that can easily close the gap on a couple of teams if they want to go box to box, wall to wall, and have that be their plan. You can see them breaking through the builds. They're just trying to find anybody that is nearby because they don't want to peek and accidentally get shot at by the lobby. So for them, it's about finding whoever is close, and they hear the players nearby, so they're just trying their best to figure out what they are going to do.
Just a couple tags now, but also a few seconds away from the half in, half out. The surge will continue to wreck the lobby. It's going to become more and more difficult now as the seconds rage on. This is game 7 of the FNCS Invitational, and the action is really starting to pick up now.
Yeah, Pam Stu went down early on. Batch left by himself. A consistent duo on the day, but he is 17 below the damage threshold. Reed in his line of sight. He's trying to hunt, but somebody, that's Seti, who takes that one away. That was Batch's best chance at Storm Surge damage.
It's going to go all the way north here. We know Edgy was a solo. Now we have Thatch as a solo as well. A tough position to be in. Take a look at the points. It is looking very much like a 3-way race, continuing the trend here as EU leads the charge right now. Jumping over. Shield bubbles are down. Tripperin and Thomas HD has found their next targets, and it's not an easy choice by any means. We are looking at KBR and Z on the other side of the wall.
And even though for Thomas and Tripperin, Storm Surge is not activated right now. They knew where they last stood when it came to that damage. Exactly that. They are still below. It is still a worry for them, and they have to travel through all these players who are actually beating them to the punch. This could get dangerous, but for Janus and Vidil, they have the high ground. They have that perfect opportunity if they're low on Surge to just clean up the lobby.
And we wanted to check in with Vino and Queasy. How have they managed to take this zone favor and turn it to their advantage? Heavy material, big HP, well above the Surge, launch pads to work with. This is a story written for them right now. And again, you saw how many points they had leading coming into this. This can only end well for them at this point. But let's go ahead and look at Aqua. Reason, a much different story. This is a team that will play for hype, and you can see they're already positioned themselves to do it. But Aqua with the drop shot and now punished for the risk. Was it worth it? Reason has to leave him behind. He turns it around. Another team says, whoa, what are you doing? That's a solo now. And the burning of the mats here to try to survive. That's unfortunate for Aqua.
Yep. He was right there trying to chop down, and that was tantalizing him to go for that shot right then and there, and he went for it. That was a huge opportunity. Unfortunately enough, it didn't pay off, but for Acorn and Edgy, they're making it this far. And actually seeing these guys get knocked a few times throughout this game. That was where Edgy finally went down, but for Acorn, he was one of the biggest damage dealers in the lobby throughout 6 games yesterday. Looking to keep that up for Cammy and Seti. They started the day in 3rd. They moved up to 2nd already, so their game plan is continuing to pay off.
And Z finds Vico in the feed there too, so things are really starting to get interesting now as we're seeing changes happen. Joe is still in this game as well. Take a look. Acorn as a solo right now, making do with anything, right? Honestly, when we last tuned in, he barely had something, but on high ground, Queasy and Vino have now solidified themselves as the Titans up top.
Yep, that feeling of deja vu sinks in yet again. 6-moving zone. That's the same time they took it yesterday as Thomas and Tripperin. This time around, they're going to have that flexibility because they're 141 above the damage threshold this time, so they don't have to go hunting. They can stay ahead of zone, try to get themselves in a good spot.
And what a beautiful way and usage of the shield bubbles to make their rotate on the dead side while using the shield bubbles. Cammy, though, caught slipping there, and Seti is left now as a solo in this endgame to the hands of Larson. Cammy falls.
Yeah, and this endgame is just getting so rough. Up and down these mountains. These players are going to have to figure out what they're going to do, especially Tripper, who is out of builds. Him and Thomas have to figure out something, but they have been through the ringer this game. If anybody deserves it, it's them.
This is crazy. Tripper and Thomas should not be alive right now, but they are staying up. Thomas,
he does it again!
True Lex with a huge refresh, and he is back in the game. It will come at the expense of Tripper falling, though. But hey, they have earned points, and now we have another top 3 player inside the game here, keeping up with the pace. Scented, Cold, still alive. 3 Elans as well. Looking to take a fight there, but no. They want to make this rotate. They need to get to the zone. What a great layer change here from Scented, and it's all about smart play from him.
Yeah, he had 2 med miss, floppers on the backside of zone. Thomas doing everything he can to stay alive, just like Larson here, who's by himself. 5 eliminations as a team, most of them coming off the back of Larson and that early game start. But first place, Queasy and Vino holding on high to the high ground in the sky.
And Brazil is still alive in this game as well. So we have EU, NA, and Brazil all in the same game. You can see the heals coming out from Kitos and PH in there. They still have so much to work with. 2 of our top 5 teams already out. So for Vino and Queasy, they are starting to take away. Tripper holding on with dear life here at 200 points, making sure the gap does not go too far. 6 elims now for a Brazilian duo. Larson has a solo right now, trying to steal away whatever he can get.
Only 2 builds of names, trying to play his cards carefully, but somehow Scented. Again, he goes down, but it's Thomas HD with a run of a lifetime right now going down right before our very eyes. Top 10 finish. Now he's in the top 7 as well, trying to keep it going. KBR, Larson, all these solos coming around. This is going to get good.
Oh, right through the chrome, and Vortex puts him down. KBR, it's your turn. Nope, down he goes. And now we're looking at a 2-on-2 +1 in the mix there in the low ground. Queasy and Vino are starting to run out of, Matt's down low, but that's all. They have tons of heals to work with. Meanwhile, Bevies is just clawing his way through the builds here. It is not looking too good. Queasy's gonna get burned there for over peeking down low, but this should be their game.
That feeling of deja vu comes in yet again, picking up where they left off from yesterday. But this time, Janice and Vidil, the team from Greasy Grove, making it this far, and it's come down to a 2v2 situation between two of the top teams in EU. With Janice and Vidil feeling the pressure of the high ground, running out of builds. This is basically Queasy and Vino's game.
Both sides are starting to run out now. Queasy's down to one build as well. This is looking very dire. They're going to have to cap off. Janice and Vidil know better. They need to continue the pressure. Vino goes down. He takes a shot. Vidil blocks it. Beautifully done. Janice stuck up from behind. Queasy with a great follow-up. And oh my gosh, it was so close. But Queasy touches out in the end. EU, Vino, Queasy from first to another first, literally.
From high ground in 6 moving zone, the calculated play pays off. They hold on through and through. This is one team you don't want to give a single advantage to, because you will regret it at the end of the day.
Vino and Queasy are showing us why they are cut above the rest. They're looking good while they do it. The ability to capitalize on pulling that north zone is just making it look so easy for them. Let's get caught up here.
I'm joined now by your Game 7 winners. It's Queasy and Vino! What an incredible way. We talked about this only a short time ago about coming in at like a strong start here, Vino, and you have done exactly that with an incredible endgame finish.
Yeah, I know. It's unbelievable. Hopefully we can still close it out. We're feeling good. Maybe we should get a bit more kills. 4-kill win, but we're feeling good.
We saw some of the teams around you managing to score a lot of points as well. Were you conscious of that going through, or were you focused simply on the task at hand, which was seeing that out and getting the victory royale?
We're just focused on playing our own game and winning the game. That's it. Like, brand new day, brand new everything.
Well, it was a great start to proceedings and a great start to this competition on day number 2. Let's get back to Zeke and the desk.
Shout outs to you, Adam. Thank you so much. And massive shout outs to Queasy and Vino. We interviewed them at the end of yesterday, and they said, we want to take a moment. We need to go back. We need to review a couple things and come back stronger tomorrow. What a better way than just go ahead and win the game. I mean, to come out and in zone 2, be zone favored, to be sitting in zone on height, basically max materials, basically max heals. They're not going to lose.
They're unstoppable, Zeke. We saw it yesterday, and I don't know what's going on. Another north zone for this duo with the potential they have, how confident they are, how well they play. We saw it going into the late game. I think it was Queasy almost had 12 splashes, almost max materials, and they knew exactly how to capitalize on an advantage like that, and they did it perfectly.
You know how they knew how to capitalize? Game number 5, the zone was almost in the exact same place yesterday.
Yep.
Today, it's in the exact same place again. It's just deja vu. It's Groundhog Day for these teams that are playing it, and of course, Queasy and Veno, it's the same outcome. What I noticed about them doing really, really well there was in second moving zone, they actually switched to metal. Now, that's the time when most teams are going to be using wood. They're going to be running out of steam because they used all their hard mats earlier on. Queasy and Veno are different. They know how to play high ground. The most turnover of height happens in second zone, and they were reinforced in metal. A little something to pick up on in that gameplay.
I'm telling you, it's just one of those things, right? They kind of take that step back and they say, wait, remember, this is an invitational. We got to be on point. We can't make those small mistakes. And of course, they come out strong. Thomas HD and Trippin as well. We watched the top 3. They have not budged.
Look, I got scared for a moment watching Thomas HD and Tripper, and they went up against Baka and On1. You can actually see it happening here, and that was a close one. One of them, I believe it was Thomas, no, it was Tripperin who got knocked down here, leaving Thomas alone, but he did a huge amount of damage before getting knocked, and was actually able to escape and get picked up again, which allowed them to get those points that they needed.
Yeah, it was absolutely valiant from Trippin there as well. If he'd have just gone down without taking out one of the opponents there, he wouldn't have been able to get res, right? That was a crucial amount of damage that he did right there, and it allowed Thomas HD to have that freedom to get the revive. I didn't think they were going to make it through this endgame. Their surge were looking pretty bad, particularly for their zone position here. Of course, they're landing at the Rave Cave. They have all of the map mobility in the world to get there. It did require a nice little solo clutch from Thomas HD, who is synonymous with solo clutches.
Consistency, consistency, consistency is what this duo is showing. Yesterday, they got more than 20 points in every single match. Also, top 15 in every single match, and today they're looking to do the same.
That's right. Well, guess what? These are just some of our insights. Vivid is actually standing by on the stage. Let's hear what he has to say.
Yes, of course. Listen, I am feeling for the players right now. We saw them hit the socials. They were complaining about all these North Zones yesterday. What are we going to start with here again today? Another Northern Zone. Now, I wanted to kind of explain why some of these pro players are having such a hard time with this. Well, first of all, it's going to be all about Tilted Towers and the blimp that we can find there. Look what this position is doing around it. There is not a single arrow under this blimp, and what it does is it's going to force this funnel on the right side and the left side of it. So as they're making this rotation all the way up to the northern side of this map, they're all just rotating together, right? It's looking like the Mr. Beast X Fortnite line over there for these burgers. Absolutely incredible. And then when this zone actually ends up closing in, they're all just on the southern side of this, and it's so congested that it makes it so hard for any of these teams to consistently handle this if you are coming from the southern side of the map. But of course, Queasy and Vino landing up there. They do take that victory out. Congratulations to them. That being said, let's kick it back over to the desk.
Thank you so much, Vivid. Fantastic breakdown there. I did want to take a moment to highlight some of the other duels we did see, kind of performing well. Zeet, KBR, they finally find themselves in that top 15 and hold and fall in 5th place. Now remember, we don't need the Victory Royale to climb the standings. We just need to be consistent.
Look, I love to see this duo performing well. The audience loves it. I hear the cheers when they're getting Elim after Elim, and now being bumped up to 4th place, seeing that this is the 4th finals they are playing together. This duo coming from being the champions of Chapter 3 Season 2. Zeet being an all-star champion as well, to now on the main international stage performing. You love to see it.
Yeah, we talked about it at the beginning of the show, right? Can these teams pick up where they left off after day one? And Zeet and KBR were one of those teams that ended the day better than they started. Their final 3 games yesterday, they had one of the most points out of all of the teams, and they're picking it up once more.
That's right, another duo, PH Zin, Kitos, also alive there in the top 15. So real Brazil, they're showing up huge today. I feel like another duo that we actually got to see first time. They're kind of still under the radar. Vidil and Janice, they've been relatively quiet, but they did make top 5 in this last game. So what are we kind of hoping to see out of this duo?
Look, they adapted. I saw Janice on social media yesterday. He was like, I don't know what to do. I'm landing in an uncontested spot. The zones are pulling north. I don't have time to get enough surge. I don't have time to get enough damage. I need to change something. And clearly, Janice and Vidil changed something, because they got 2nd place now going into today. It's a huge match for them.
Yeah, they were doing great. I saw Vidil just doing a little bit of VOD reviewing as well, and he's really making changes.
Man, a lot of these players, they know today is the day to bring it all. But as we prepare for Game 8, let's go hang out with Monster D-Face and Jacob to get things started.
Thank you so much there, Zeke. Yeah, we really get to pick things up. It's looking like we're closing into a runaway train, potentially.
Yeah, potentially it is so, but there's still 5 games left on the day. For some of these teams, right now, game number 8 is their chance to close the gap on that leaderboard and fight for the chance to call yourself the FNCS Invitational Champion.
Well, at this point, if I'm a team, I don't care where I'm landing, I'm gonna maybe think to myself, hey, let's slide on north. Let's play the upper side of this early rotate. How do we get to those general areas sooner rather than later? Well, now we get to find out, folks. Here we are. Game number 8 is kicking off.
Yep, got a little bit of a different bus path yet again. I'm liking the little bit of variety that we are coming out with. And for some of these teams, we're going to see a little bit of Fort Jonesy, Clicks and Duke, Peak and Anas. Almost all day yesterday, they completely split the POI, went their 2 separate ways, and that's how they were able to get the spot they did on the leaderboard.
That's right, and also Jamper and Peterbot on that coast having a tough time.
Yeah.
Contested pretty much for very little loot, not much to work with, and that is the difference maker sometimes when you have your route being imposed on. It's not all about taking head-to-head engagements. It's also about what you lose out on.
Yeah, because you also got to remember, there is 7 different regions being represented right now. Some of these guys are the top dog in their region, and they're not contested on the usual. So this is a new feeling and a new thing for some of them to have to work through, as Cammy and Seti yet again trying to get that early surge down, as Larson and Šmejd taking control of the entire house over at Grim's Gables. A split spot coming out from Muzz and Looter. But you got to watch out if you're being this split against a team that is this active in Larson and Šmejd.
I did not expect Miro to fall so early, but it looks like Kanata might have found himself a free knock in the air. As now we get to look over at Chapix and Tayson. The rotate out for Aqua, losing his teammate right now. Reason is down, and Aqua, I can just feel the desperation, the look on his face tells it all, man, as they are communicating with one another. What went wrong?
You can see Seti and Cammy join Aqua and Nyrox as the only players with multiple VRs in an international event. That is absolutely impressive as these two teams closing the gap between each other. They want that off-spawn exchange, and for Muzz and Luder, they want revenge. They want redemption for what they've been going through the past 7 games.
That last game was a great one for Šmejd and Larson, officially jumping their way back up into the top 5. So if Muzz and Luder play spoiler here, it'll be a huge landslide moment for Šmejd and Larson. They can't afford that. Lovely for them to disengage and play this one out. Tripper and Thomas HD so far, for me, the play of the day has to go to them. They have managed to turn that last game around with nothing. Arguably, probably one of the worst positions we'll see them in over the course of the day.
And they had one of the most performances yesterday, almost 20 points in all 6 games. No other team had even 10 points in every game. So you got to imagine how that really puts them on the confidence scale coming into day number 2 as Joe and Z Andy are going to have a little bit of a North Pool yet again. It's going to be on the eastern side this time around, so for some of these teams, it's going to be a little bit of an easier game, but some of them, it's going to be equally as hard as the last.
I'm happy we have to jump in with KBR here because Z is down. We saw that exchange happen in the feed there. Remember, they are not completely clear here at the Lustrous Lagoon in this general area. They do have tons of players that land in this general area. Runa and Peppo being a few. Chimp up at the north side alongside Scram being another set of duos, right? So that is very much a contested area, and now he has to play for the save.
Yep, on board, Queasy and Vino. One of 2 teams in this event that has 2 victory royales so far in this tournament, and you're seeing how they're getting the job done. Going from balloon to high ground, getting the surge, surveying the lobby is absolutely important. This is such a synergistic duo that cannot be stopped at the way they're going right now.
I don't want to call it too early, but
hey,
the zone is leaning north. Is it going to end somewhere up there? Yes or no?
No. I want to bet against it. I want to bet against it because some of these teams have been just going through the ringer with those north zones. I'd be okay with an eastern one, giving some of our teams on that just a little bit of a chance to kind of climb up that leaderboard. But a team that doesn't need a chance because they take it by force is Wox and Robob Kebab. They're one of my favorite teams simply because of Robob's name.
Yeah, you say it all the way through every time.
I have to.
I don't have the heart to risk it. Bailey and Alex in a box fight right now versus Yusri and Ju. This is a long-awaited fight. It's been happening all weekend long. They're one of the few teams that have been contested, but not have really turned their winning fights into anything big in the end game, right?
It's huge. Wave, Ju and Yusri not backing down here. This is a fight that I think kind of settled every single game yesterday. Or at least I'd guess so, between Alex and Bailey, Ju and Yusri. But Alex and Bailey, I was kind of talking to them. Anybody in this tournament, realistically, including them, can pop off at a moment's notice. You just have to find a way to do it while staying consistent at the same time, and they want to go ahead and get this elimination. They want to go ahead and fight this so that way they can get the surge that they need so they don't have to worry about it later on. Because unlike every regular FNCS of the past, our contested teams this side around are actually having very good tournaments.
I think what we're seeing right now is stage pressure kicking in. I had a lot of time to kick up, really catch up and get to know Alex and Bailey in the lead up to all of this. And what they've managed to tell me is they were winning most of their creative head-to-heads. So I think when it comes down to raw skill, Alex and Bailey might have the edge over Ju and Yusri, who are newer formed duo in final style settings. That's kind of what's happening here. Let's go and catch up with Miro, though. What's been going on with him down south?
Yeah, him and Buga, I've been wanting to see more of. This is a legacy-style event for them. And already, they're switching it up as Miro finding an early elimination onto Bevies. And that was a thing for them. They had such north poles, they weren't able to get the surge, so they had to go hunting just like so many other players in the lobby. And you're not really able to control your game if you're just forced to go for surge game after game.
That's right, but luckily for him, he does find a little bit of success there. An elim is huge, especially considering he can go ahead and rotate sooner rather than later. Thomas HD, Tripper, taking their destiny into their own hand this time around, really turning up the action. This is learning from your previous game. They do not want to find themselves in another storm surge position where they have to fight for Surge.
You can see that Thomas having more points as a solo than any other player in EU. But to me, that's not too surprising because we talk about his accolades. We talk about how legendary of a player he is. He just needs to seal that deal with an FNCS championship, and he could really cement himself as one of the best players of all time.
And you can see he also led all damage on day number 1, really earning that respect there. If you didn't believe it before, seeing him do it in person is exceptional. As Seti and Cammy, we can speak to the same accolades. What a great duo here. Just really strategizing all the way through, playing so well so far, and continuing the trend. Last game, not so bad, right? They did enough to maintain the pace there in 3rd place.
That's where Tayson and Chapix, you can see a lot of those Cloudy Condos teams not able to get a ton of damage to put themselves up for a good mid game, but right now they already took down Macwood, looking to go back-to-back and take down Kanata as well. They are hot on the heels. They don't want to let this one escape. The damage continues. The pressure is just insurmountable right now as Kanata is just trying to survive. Luckily for him, a couple of players joining on the fun. The tags come in from a third party. That's going to allow Kanata just a few seconds to try to stabilize against this European powerhouse.
Kanata and Macwood are uncontested at their drop, so they're playing with fire right now as they pull south to the edge of the zone here to see what they can make happen. But Kanata riding his way around the builds right now. You can see Tayson now jumping onto all the loot. Some of it was already scavenged through, so Kanata should have the reboot card there. If the distance shots come in, that could be Buga and Miro at the hill there. As we know, this is their area. They do play those outskirts. They will not rotate early to center. It's not how they do it.
Kanata's just trying to stay alive right now on the edge of zone as well, so it's not even going to be a storm fight when it comes down to it. So Chapix and Tayson do exactly anything they want, and you can kind of see KBR, Zeet, 4th place. They go down in this one. That's not where you want to be, but the fight continues, and Kanata is doing an absolutely fantastic job fighting back against one of the best teams in the region of EU.
Let's see it. Chapix looking for the wall here. Kanata demanding respect, but gets punished first. 72 was a huge shot from Chapix there. And the edit comes through. He fights back. This is what pro players do so well. And Tayson still, against all odds, will turn that one around, but it was looking so dicey.
Yeah, unfortunately for Kanata and Macwood, that's where that consistency of yesterday kind of comes to a halt, but there's still a couple more games on the day. They can climb back at any moment.
That's right. Let's get a quick update from Taco on how things are going.
Been a lot of action taking place over in the Tilted Towers area as well throughout this game, but absolutely wanted to highlight the way that Acorn and Edgy have just managed to split their teamwork responsibilities. You've got Acorn just spending all of his time securing the loot, securing resources for this duo. Meanwhile, Edgy, he's making sure to take care of their surge management. The entire while, he's just posted up on high ground, looking everywhere he can for as many tags as possible so that their rotations can be as free as they need it.
And those are the strengths of Tilted Towers. Center location, it doesn't matter where the zone goes. They have a strategy that has been so solid every single time. And again, as we gave you guys the updates, top 5 has changed as 4th place is now out of the competition. You see there the slight misplay from KBR. He tries to throw down a chug splash, but unfortunately sends one into the bush. And look at that, gets eliminated there by Wax and Robob. And the reaction, that's a tough one there because, again, they were doing very well pacing in Game 8.
Yeah, just hopefully right now, mentally, they realize that they can still do very, very well. They can still jump up a ton of placings in the next couple of games. You just have to buckle down. You can see the TSM duo far below. But now I want to go over to Larson and Šmejd. Is this the longest either one of these teams have not only been alive, but been in Grim Gables as well? But at the end of the day, they want to fight. And that fight they will get. And between Larson and Šmejd, they have a little bit of that high ground. They're only team contested in the top 5.
At this point, I don't even know if they know it's Looter and Muzz. How do they? You really like, how do they? Been out there for so long, maybe they walked away and came back today. Is this another duo?
Drop it.
Strapped up. Box like a fish, almost. Šmejd turns it around though, 2v1. They try to swing in and it's not looking good. They are hurt. No HP, low material count. It's down, goes Šmejd. Larson sneaks out the side there, and Muzz catches the first elimination, and the siphon is enough to get some mats there.
That's huge. That's huge for them, for their comeback attempt. get as many placements as possible. But there's a couple other teams that are stacked up here as well, and it does look like the surviving member of that duo got out alive for a moment, but he cannot go back into the storm. Otherwise, he will get eliminated by somebody else.
And Thomas HD gets those 2 points. That can be a difference maker. 3 points for Thomas HD and Trippin, who are on the heels of Vino and Queasy, but now 4th place is down. 5th place is down. The top 3 have more of a runway to start ramping up here. King and Ed, though, under shots here. They are making the rotate. It's Avery and Commandment who's up above. Low on material count as well. King has to box up.
Yep, another team towards the north side of the map, on the western side as well, that has a little bit of a pool to go. I don't want to say I called it, but I wanted that little bit of an eastern side. We don't want to go all the way north anymore. We want to give a huge fighting chance as Sensen and Cold. They're just a below surge, but barely below as they're continuing to find the tags, trying to get themselves above. Just like that, it appears. They did just enough damage, but for them, that's not a feeling of comfortability at all. They know their job is not done just yet, and that's why they keep surveying the field.
That is right. Great tags here. Scepter is going to find down low. This is where you need to really hit your shots. When your team is just on that line of danger, when the storm surge is looming, and when the pressure is on, who can go ahead and put up the numbers that matter most? Noah Riley, bad sniper, very low on HP, not even pausing to go ahead and heal one another instead. Pushing on in. That's the Japanese duo right there. Zagu and Mareem, they are champions of Asia, the most recent FNCS champions of their region. You have to put respect on their name. And these EU boys are learning very quickly as to why you don't walk up to that wall.
Yeah, and they're actually one of the teams that have some of the best performances when rebooting a player. They got a 25th place finish. They got a second, but Noah Riley doesn't care. He gets tagged up. Zagu gets dropped as well. Both these players living on a prayer, but the Asian powerhouse team do it again. Let's get loud for Japan.
Representing for Japan, we love to see it. It's a jammed house here in North Carolina. We love to see these teams stepping up under the lights, under the action. Thomas HD Tripper doing that as well. Look at how they adjusted from game 1 on this day, from game 7 to game 8 now, right? All of a sudden now, they are so far above with the damage.
But historically, when it comes to Thomas HD and Trippin, I will say they're a second half team. They're a second day team. Historically, they just perform better when their back is up against the wall. And hopefully for NA East, hopefully for North America altogether, Acorn and Edgy can have that same fire. You talk about them being in 4th place on the day. It was only because they had a bad game 2. They had a 0-point game 2 yesterday. Other than that, they were among the top 3 in performances at the second half of the day. If they can continue that here early, they will be on the run to the race.
Vino's going to find Hellfire in the feed there. That's going to be a huge refresh for him, but Kito with the agent holding on to dear life right now, just edging on the top 10 here as far as overall points go. Last game, they were in 4th. They slipped way on down, and this time it seems like the Storm Surge has ran a number on them. Now let's take a look at the current game leaders. Rotates there. Cammy and Seti being a few of the bulk that are still in this one, finding themselves pretty much dead center here. Now remember, if there's any zone you want to be in the middle, it's zone 3, as it gives you the highest odds to pull that 4th one. Yeah. Beyond that, it's anyone's ball game.
And the interesting thing about Cammy and Seti and the way they're playing this weekend, because historically, we've talked about it in the desk to kind of start the day yesterday, they're not an aggressive team. Even though they're in a top placing team, they're usually on the low, but right now, another top placing team on the leaderboard, Joe and Z Andy trying to get busy. Malibuga goes down. Merstash is by himself, trying to live with just a sliver of HP as Joe wastes no time trying to get into the box, but Z Andy goes down to the storm. 1v1 situation. Peace Control goes right back over to Merstash. He peeks through at the wrong time. Huge tag, back to back by Joe to get the double elimination.
And we love to see it. It's usually your friends that turn on you, Joe. Z Andy against Malibuka and Merstash. Tough one right there, but they will be the EU team on top in that engagement.
This Queasy and Vino team that's sitting comfortably in 1st place as Buga taking down Clicks in the feed. And that's what we want to see. We saw Miro getting a little bit busy earlier. Now we're seeing Buga start to get active. This team is beginning to come online. And for a team as dangerous as they are, they have never placed out of the top 3, Monster. And they want to keep that accolade intact.
It's going to be a tough one, though. They will have to continue to turn up. But Vico is in a fight up against Zagu and Mareem, and he will turn things around. Vico had the biggest game closer yesterday of any other player on the day. This man is an animal.
Dangerous as can be, and you can see Pink and Anas. Very, very similar situation. Top of the mountain, they got some traveling to do. A few teams around them as well, but they're just trying to figure out where the rest of the teams actually went. So right now, they're trying to figure out what that slow side is.
Let's see it. Joe by himself. Z Andy picked apart on the rotate. No heals for Joe. What a tough spot to be in, but hey, at least he has Chrome Splashes for the rotate. It's gonna be tough. We're holding our breaths. I'm sure he is as well. You can see he's just biting his lip, looking around like, oh man, I gotta time this perfectly.
When do I move? When do I go? That's the question he's asking himself second after second. As Thomas and Trippin, 271 above the damage threshold. Not much to go, but they want to get there as fast as possible. In a zone like this, you want to get yourself that sweet spot, and it looks like they're going straight for the high ground.
Don't overcommit here. Shield Bubble comes down to protect themselves. This will allow the builds to get to max HP, and now they can start to read the room. It's Epic Whale. That's not an easy duo by any means, but no, high ground cannot be claimed. There's still some natural terrain off to the side there. They have to weigh their decisions. Thomas HD, so much better in this game here, looking so much better. Trippern as well.
I like this view of the lobby right now because it really shows us how stacked that right side actually is. We're gonna probably see some teams launchpad early if they do not get the zone. Is Hijo Belusi picking up a couple on the Brazilian duo of King and Ed. You see Epic Whale, a player that usually is lighting up the leaderboard, having a couple struggles, but he is too a second half team. A lot of these teams are known with their backs up against the wall to come up big.
Akon and Edgy might have found some points there. That is huge, but no, it's just going to be taxed. Oh, actually, yes, yep. Edgy will get the Elim credit there. That's going to effectively push them over. Cold and Sensitive, they have done enough to go ahead and continue to trade that 7th and 8th place position. The top 10 is extremely competitive here. Buga, Miro, 4 eliminations. What a massive swing of points here.
And they're just continuously looking for the shots all around. Finally finding that comfortability here. Finally finding some sort of stride to work with. And you can see the Chili Chug splashes coming out. And that's how they're going to try to rotate across while all the other teams are stuck in that mess on the side. They did just enough damage to weaken one team to try to put them the focus of that lobby.
Vino and Queasy already positioned up at the north side here. Here comes another launch pad. It's down. And the heals are looking excellent for this duo, but the material count halfway. They will have to fight for a refresher. Vino is going to get tagged by Refsgard there, and he loses his shield as well. And now split from Queasy. Queasy bases out wide here to put up a front on high ground. It's Scram and Chimp who land outside of the Lustrous Lagoon, all of a sudden trying to turn us around. Edgy is down. Acorn by himself. World of trouble, and he goes down to Avery from the side there.
That is huge because they're having a pop-off game right now. Seeing Commandment getting a few eliminations already. Chimp and Scram finding success here on the day. They had a top finish yesterday. They're looking to replicate that some way, shape, or form. But Vino, Queasy, you know what time it is. 5th into 6th moving zone. This is where they typically try to go for that high ground and hold on to it for the rest of the game.
Most of top 10 that we started this lobby with is now down and out, but you know who is consistent is our remaining first 3. Vino, Queasy, Thomas HD, Tripper, Seti, and Camis are still in this game. And somewhere amongst all that, you have the solo Joe, who was just picked up, and now Vico, one of the only few who can actually jump back into this.
If anybody can do it and pick up some big placement points, it is going to be him. And if you look at his inventory, he has that recipe for success. Queasy, Vino, just looking for that information. Like I said, they're right now looking, is high ground take going to be possible? As they're spotting all these players around, figure out who is moving, where to go is Tripper and Thomas. 33 below the damage threshold. They're going to launch pad, get ahead of zone, and as soon as they do, even though they're not in zone, they're going to be looking all around them to try to find the tags that they need.
The best part of what we're watching right now is the preparation, the hard work, and all of that coming together here for the EU trios or duos at the top right now. Because at the end of the day, we know they put in all the work. Vino is going to find Reet and then crank his way up to high ground, and all of a sudden, he is trying to go for a back-to-back. They might just be the most winningest team of the FNCS Invitational at this rate.
Back-to-back games, 6 moving zone. They take the high ground with a well-paced launch pad, but Scented and Cold, they find 2 eliminations on their way to the end game. And if they could just make it that far, they're trying to stay ahead of zone, trying to find some elevation to work with. But Chimp and Scram fighting for the high ground against Squeezy and Vino. And Vino right now doing a great job building high enough to shut down that opportunity.
Squeezy's going to meet him there as well. And look at this, it's going to cost him a ton of material. So it's not over yet. Launchpad comes in, and there it is. He almost gets boxed out. And Queasy and Vino have to give up the high ground. Vino drops down, takes some fall damage here. And the defense, it's Chapix, it's Tayson on height, out of nowhere.
And while this action's going down in the mud towards the low ground, Buga and Miro found 2 more eliminations. They're continuing to light things up as Andalix finding 1. Vino finds another on Robot Kebab before going down. Queasy left by himself, no build, just a few bandages. This man is trying to make miracles happen. Looking towards the backside of zone, he gets shut down by Pablo.
And it's actually a time for Thomas and Tripper to catch up. Finally, this powerhouse duo is out of the lobby, but will they step up? Can they make do and take advantage of the fact that they cannot earn any points? Tripper is still alive right now. No team's getting taken out, but no, he's hurt. And he goes down. He does not manage to find anything. What's left is Seti and Kama. What's left is Buga and Miro here, but Miro's down for eliminations. This is where he needs to perform best. Into the hands of Seti. Miro has fallen.
And right now, this is just an unorthodox way to take that top spot for Cammy and Seti to where they weren't as aggressive coming into this event. This is the most aggressive we have ever seen a team like them, and it is paying off tenfold as the high ground switches on over. But the World Cup champion, the solo World Cup champion, is stuck at just that, a solo, trying to stay alive, figure out what the plan is going to be, moving around the left side of zone to where not too many players are at, and the smart usage of the Chrome Splashes as well, denying the opportunity to edit through, but he finds the shots on the scram, but he gets shot back by Chimp. This is going to come down to that. Chimp takes down Buga. Into the top 10 he goes, though.
And look at Chimp go. Look at the quick edits there as he manages to turn around. Now out of material. It's all or nothing. A quick edit down low as well to keep him in the game here. But the low ground, there's 2, and it's a dangerous 2. It's Scented. It's Cold. They're waiting here as the loot rains down the river. Unfortunately, slips away from them. Seti still alive here, trying to squeeze out as many points as possible, and he works his way on up to the top. Meanwhile, Cloud playing upset, and Chapix and Tayson are down. Watts and Robab managed to find 8 eliminations, and it's just Watts on height.
This is going to be a big opportunity for Wax to try to pick up as many placement points as he can as a solo. Same could be said with Seti. Chrome Splash, Bobifying himself, dashing, trying to take the high ground, but a misstep by Golden Scented as well. They both go down to hand. He is putting on a show to bring them to the top of the leaderboard.
It only takes 1 game to jump back into this top 10 here, and you're watching players fighting for it, putting it all on the line. 9 elims for Wax and Robab, 3 for Clown, who has a little high ground position here over the lobby, but they're still a duo in this game. It's Hen, it's Vortex. They're the only duo alive standing right now. 1v1v2, Clown versus Wax here. Wax is looking up and high, a great jump shot there, and he is down. And now Cloud has to take on 2 of the best here on EU. Guild Hen, focus Vortex. It's not looking good, but it's looking great for Vortex and Hen, and they close out.
They had complete control of that game. From 8 moving zone and all, the last duo alive. Teamwork really making that dream work. And off the back of Hen, that 2 eliminations at the end to get the siphon, that was the recipe for their success.
And they were just so close to pushing double digits there. A low ground win is not something we've seen, but let's get caught up in a little insight from the pros.
Hello, hello. I am joined here by Vortex and Hen after that incredible game. How you feeling, man?
Pretty pumped. Just gotta keep it up.
I mean, obviously, grabbing, what, 8, 9 eliminations in that game. What's the next step for the next game?
Win next game again.
Okay, 2 VRs back-to-back. I love it so much. And obviously, what was the recipe for success there? There was a lot going on all around you guys.
We made lots of mistakes yesterday, and we're trying to come back stronger. So we're trying to fix all the mistakes made yesterday and, you know, win today.
So what were some of the mistakes that you fixed in this day?
Search and rotation.
I love it. I mean, thank you guys so much for joining me here. Congratulations on your win. Can't wait to see what you guys do next game. Let's head on back to the desk.
Thank you guys so much. Hen and Vortex picking up game number 8. And all with 9 eliminations. This is kind of what we talked about yesterday at the end of the day, right? Yesterday was kind of like an initial setup. Let's go ahead and let's fight a few times. Let's play a few games. But today, we really want to bring it. For them to come out in game number 8, basically the second one of the day, this is a really good jump start.
This is where they have to shine, right, Zeke? And they did exactly that in this match. I mean, one of the few victory royales that actually come from down in the dirt, from below, and they made it happen.
Yeah, they already did. And what you noticed from that interview right there, they were saying, of course, they had surge issues yesterday. They had some positional, rotational issues. And this is something that I thought might happen with this duo. They're 2 fraggers ready. They don't really have that lead. They don't have that IGL. I think Hen is trying to take on the role at the moment, but they're 2 fraggers by heart. And I think that overnight sort of VOD viewing session that they must have done has really helped them fix those issues. Because although they may not